Hey there gardeners, Chris from Steading here. Today I want to talk about having to move your garden beds, which is a huge project. It could be really quite intensive and quite difficult and a lot of labour involved. But I want to talk about, number one, why you might be doing it, because I've just done it. Number two, the expectations of how much work is going to be involved versus really the reality of it. Transplanting plants, if that is something that you need to worry about, which it was for me. Some of the easier ways of making sure that when you're doing this, you're doing it as efficiently as possible. And essentially, yeah, just having a look at the end results. So for us, we're moving garden beds, or we're redoing the garden beds because we've got a tree root problem. However, for a lot of people, that's not going to be the big issue. You may have put your beds in a place which doesn't get the right amount of sun, so that could be a significant issue. You may have figured out that kind of from an efficiency perspective, your bed setup is not very good. You might be putting in a bigger or smaller garden bed to suit. There's lots of different reasons why you might be doing this, and that's going to be totally up to you. Maybe your old beds have failed and it's time to put in some new ones. Certainly with my Birdie's garden beds, I expect them to last a very long while, and they're all looking really good after a year or two in the ground. However, obviously with wooden beds and things like that, it may just be a matter of them rotting out. Certainly here, wooden beds would not last very long at all. I've had pallets sitting in the garden as basically a very simple garden bed, a soil retention system, and those are breaking down after about 9 months. So there's lots of different reasons why your garden beds might need redoing, might need moving, and obviously the soil in these is probably the big concern, because you're going to need to shovel it all out and then you're going to need to put it back in if you're reusing that soil. Chances are you are, because you might be amending it, you might be putting some good stuff in, but most people aren't going to be chucking out full garden beds worth of soil, because it should still be good stuff. Also, if you've got plants already growing in the beds, probably what you want to think about is the ones you want to keep. This is a perfect opportunity to get rid of the plants that you don't really like, that aren't really doing that well. Keeping in mind, if there's an underlying issue in your garden bed like sunlight, tree roots for us, some other issue like that, maybe that's what's holding the plants back. So maybe you don't need to get rid of them, you need to give them another chance. But if it's a plant that you've had some production out of, we had like a yellow bean plant, really mediocre beans, I just chucked them out. It wasn't worth replanting them. But with something like our rhubarb, I was a little bit worried how they would deal with being moved, and they're looking okay. Maybe not the best, but so far they're doing pretty well. So that is good. And we replanted all the ones we moved because our rhubarb is something pretty special to us. So if there's something really special for you, what I would say is dig around it, take as much soil as you can, try not to cut the roots if you can. I was just using a big shovel, digging around, picking it up, pulling it out, and then when I had a new bed ready to go, it went back in very quickly. And for us, we've had lots of rain, so getting the plants back in the ground really quickly was less of a concern because of all the rain. However, if it's very dry or very hot, you're going to need to really prioritize getting the plants back in the ground so that they don't die. Now, a gorilla cart like this one here will hold 200 litres. You can probably pile it up, maybe get 250 litres right up in there. However, the reality is that only a really small little garden bed like this one here in front of me is going to hold about 250 litres, which means that unless you've got multiple gorilla carts, you're probably not going to be able to just put all of your soil into a single receptacle. Whether it's a cart, whether it's a wheelbarrow, you're going to have way more soil than that. And as a result, you need to think a little bit tactically about how you're going to get the soil out and store it, and also how you're then going to put it back in the garden bed. Now, we're going to talk about storing it. So the gorilla cart, I've been using this, but it only holds 200 litres, so that is a bit limiting. I reckon some of these beds, like the one here behind me, is a 2.1 by 1.2, I think, maybe garden bed, maybe a 1.1. And there's hundreds and hundreds of litres of soil in there, maybe 800 litres. I'd have to do the math to double check, but it holds so much soil, it's really quite insane how much you need to take out and then also to refill it. Now what you can also use is these big 40-litre buckets, even ones which have got broken handles. If you're not moving them around too much, it's not too much of an issue. And certainly if your soil is on the drier side, they'll be very easy to pick up. These are all full of water at the moment because we've had so much rain, and that's probably not the best thing, but there has been a really advantageous side effect. We've dug a lot of the soil out of these garden beds. With the tree roots in there, a lot of them have become aquaphobic, I think is the word, hydrophobic. And it means that when you water, the soil is incapable of absorbing moisture because essentially it's got so dry, it's no longer absorbing the water, and you can water, but you just don't have any really effective kind of moisture retention. So what I have found, and this has been quite interesting, is by digging the soil out and obviously piling it up where it's been rained on, we've had a lot of rain, we've had almost 200 mil of rain in the last couple of weeks, the soil, which was really hydrophobic, is back to holding moisture. So obviously, unfortunately, we've massively disturbed the whole ecosystem of the soil, which is a bit of a no-no in gardening, but sometimes it's unavoidable. And here we've seen a benefit in that it's holding moisture again. And I haven't done anything to it, I've just dug it out. Obviously, in digging it out, it's uncompacted from the very compacted form it might have created in the garden. And it's looking a bit better for going back in the garden beds with that nice moisture retention. Putting it back in, I'm adding some compost, some fresh compost. I'm adding a little bit of vermiculite to air up the soil, so make it more airy, more light. And I'm even chucking in some of the secondhand core I've got again, just to try and get a nicer soil mix. Some of the garden beds, particularly the ones I did kind of like a basic hugel culture in the bottom of, the soil down the bottom was much, much better. There was a big improvement in soil quality from doing that. So probably something to think about if you're serious about doing this. Obviously in these smaller beds, there's less soil depth, so it's something to consider. You can't put in 200 mil of hugel culture because that would only leave you like 15 or 150 mil of soil depth, which is not ideal. For some things maybe okay, but these are things you need to think about. The big thing here is, apart from the buckets, which we can fill up, but you'd need like 20 of these for a big 800 litre bed, you can put down plastic. This is concrete plastic I'm using, and just basically shovel your soil onto it. You probably want a pretty big piece of plastic. It keeps it out from in our pebbles over there. It'll stop it from just totally smothering your grass if it's there for a little bit of time. And because this concrete plastic is quite heavy duty, it's actually not too hard to shovel it up off this. The other thing I've done here, which hopefully you can see, is I've just got an old piece of log here, and that is so that the soil just doesn't run down the hill, which has been really good. It does mean that there's a bit of water retention in that soil, but again, it just helps rehydrate it. And so that is kind of a really useful technique if you're on a hill. If you're on the flat, it may not matter, but if you don't want heavy rain from moving your soil around, just grab a couple of sticks or some pieces of timber, put them under your piece of plastic so there's just a little bit of a lip that's going to hold everything in place, and there you go. That'll help rehydrate your soil and it'll capture the moisture and stop runoff. So cool little tip. What do I have here under my little nectarine, which is now finally losing its leaves because it's cold? I've got some of, I think these are leek, maybe? I've got some of these that I've dug out of the existing beds, and you can see I've kept a big clump of soil under them so that I can just chuck them back in. Obviously, when I put them back in, I want to get some of that nice fresh compost in around them so that the roots are encouraged to grow out and pick up all the goodness, because maybe the soil that they're growing in at the moment isn't the best, especially if you're redoing your beds, because soil quality is a really big issue and it's not something you can just chuck a bit of compost on top with. This is one way of kind of transplanting things and maintaining as much of the root as possible and getting them back in, and hopefully they'll survive pretty well. Obviously, you're going to need to test that out. There might be some things that don't respond to that. I wouldn't do that with carrots, for instance. Carrots and a lot of kind of the more root vegetables are renowned for not being so good to transplant. But for something like this, I'm not too concerned. If they die, they die. And there's not really any huge plants that I'm worried about doing this with, so there's a lot less for me to worry about. Of course, on the more extreme end of things, we've got a sweet pepper here, which, as you can see, I've kind of kept the whole root ball there. And again, reiterating, because it's been so wet, obviously the root and the soil has not dried out. So everything we've done that to has been really, really happy. But if you're in a really dry environment, you're not getting any rain and you don't really want to water, then you might actually find that those root balls dry out really quickly, even with all that soil on them. And certainly these kind of root balls are much more moist now than they were in a lot of the garden beds, because we've had all that rain and because we've broken up that soil and the rain's just fallen directly on it. They're probably happier now than they were in the garden beds where they were being strangled by tree roots and not getting enough moisture. This is an enormous garden bed. As I think I've already mentioned, I think 2.1 metres by maybe 1.1, maybe 1.2. I think if I was putting the beds together again, I'd actually try and make it a little bit narrower. Now there's two reasons for that. I reckon about 900 wide is perfect, maybe 900 or 750 wide. So that's like 3 foot, 2.5 foot. And part of the reason I say that is because obviously this kind of width you need to be on either side to really have good access. But for me, because I'm putting lining in under these garden beds, most lining comes in 1.2 or 2 metre wide lining rolls, and whether that's your geotextile fabric or something like that. And it being 1.1 metres wide, it's just a little bit too wide for me to easily set up the lining and the geotextile fabric and the drainage layer in the bottom of this, which that's not going to matter for a lot of people. But I think from the access side of things, that's probably going to be a bigger problem. Now with the much taller beds that you can buy from Birdies, the 740 tall I think they are, access is much better because you don't have to crouch down to get to them. And so for those, I don't mind the much, much wider beds. However, I reckon for my use, I'd probably stick to maybe 900 wide, if not 750 wide. I reckon that's the nice compromise. But what I really needed to talk about here is that because this bed holds so much soil, I've got the gorilla cart that was full until I put some more soil back in this bed after redoing it. I got an enormous pile of soil over there, probably half a cubic metre at least. I've got some more of the kind of crappier soil here that I had to dig out, I had to put down some extra plastic. And then down the end there, I have another probably half a cubic metre of soil that's come out of garden beds. The easiest way to avoid having to store so much soil all over the place is your first bed, you're going to have to figure out where to put that soil. But then what you want to do is this bed, it started, I'm going to start digging the next bed out and I'm going to put the soil in here. I'm going to improve it as I go. And that way I'm not having to store the full amount of soil from one bed every single time. So I don't have to take it all the way out and then put it all the way back in. If you're going from one bed to the next bed, you can dig out the next bed and chuck the soil directly in here. You still want to do your amendments, you want to improve that soil, but you're saving one lot of your shoveling, which is going to be a good thing. Because when I did this job, when I started this job, I thought to myself, you know what? I reckon each of these garden beds will take about an hour to take the soil out, fix it up a little bit, put the lining in, move on to the next bed, or I should say refill the bed, move on to the next bed. The reality is it's taken me about 4 days to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8.5. And I've got one more there. I'm not going to do this back row of kind of the cheaper beds behind me. I'm not that worried about those at the moment. They're just going to have to suffer in not doing so well. And it's taken a lot more time than I expected it to. I haven't been the most efficient. We've had bad weather, but the reality is it's taken way more time and effort than I expected, because I thought I'd have this whole job done in probably a day, which was not realistic at all from the start, knowing how long it took to fill these beds, but it's just a lot more work than you might expect, which is something to keep in mind if you're doing this. If you're not the most physically able, you probably want to get someone or a couple of someones to give you a hand, because the shoveling's pretty heavy going, getting the soil back in's heavy going. There's a lot of work involved that you might need to space it out over multiple weeks if you can only do a little bit of work each day. So this is the next bed that is coming out. It's been in for a long while. It's got our pepino growing in it. I like the pepino, but I don't know that I like it enough for it to take up a prime position in our veggie garden. I feel like it'd be better kind of almost out in the fruit forest kind of thing, where it can just do its thing, but I'm not that worried about it because the pepino fruit itself is nice, but I wouldn't say something that I'd make a feature of my veggie garden where I have very, very limited space. This is the area which gets the most water, and I'm not really getting the output from it that I'd want to really make this a worthwhile part of this bit of the garden. If it was a super successful, productive raspberry bush or something that we really love, it'd be a different story, but it's not. And so I'm going to take this opportunity to take the pepino out. I will probably save a couple of cuttings that we can replant somewhere else. It's just gone back into flower, so the timing is not the most ideal, but when you're redoing your beds, it's a really, really good time to make some hard decisions about what you're growing, because this is the time to do it. Importantly, some judgment is needed. I'm in the subtropics, so peppers and chilies are basically perennials for us if we can give them a nice enough growing condition and we don't get really like any frosts, which we don't seem to. However, if these are only annuals or seasonal plants for you, there's no point trying to keep stuff unless you're moving it inside that will die off over winter. It makes the job easier for you. And I've got to be honest, I get a bit sentimental about plants, even the ones that haven't done that well. And I kind of go, oh, I don't want to kill it. It's not the best attitude to have. There are some things that are worth giving another try, but there's a lot of stuff which you should just get rid of and try regrowing it another time, or just try something different. And look at those extensive roots. The pepino in particular, and this will be true of some plants, will grow from a little cutting, and if you want to get rid of it, you definitely don't want to leave little branches sitting in the soil because it may regrow from those. So keep that in mind. So hopefully with these tips and hints in mind, this will make this job a little bit easier for you if you've been thinking about doing it or planning to do it. I will note, I reckon the best way to do this, especially if you've got all the same size beds, is add one garden bed to your collection. The reason for that is really simple. Pick your spot for your new bed, put it in place, do all the prep, get it ready, and then when you start this job, you're gonna start by emptying one of the old beds into the new bed, amend the soil, and then you don't perhaps need all that much place to store the excess soil. I reckon as it comes out of the beds, for most people, it's probably going to uncompact quite significantly. You'll end up with a little bit of extra soil, but keep in mind that that soil is going to then flatten back down. So you probably want to keep that excess soil and put it back on as a topping as your beds just settle a little bit. But by adding a single bed, decent size one, probably the same size as what you've got, or even maybe a little bit larger, you will make this process so much more simple. Because what you're then doing is, instead of having to dig it out onto your plastic, into your big containers, into your gorilla cart, into your wheelbarrow, you're just going from one bed into the next bed, and then you just keep cycling through those beds as you redo them all. And yeah, it's going to be much easier. It's going to be quicker as well. So there you go. I've got to go put my proper boots on, and I'm going to dig this bed I just took all the plants out of into the bigger bed behind it, which is ready to go. And because this is a smaller bed, it won't totally fill the bed up the top, and I got to put all my amendments in, but it shouldn't take that long. It'll be a little bit more efficient, and then at the end, this bed will be empty, the one behind me, it'll be empty, and it'll be ready for the liner to go in, the drainage material to go in, and then for me to refill it. So the final bed, in my case, I'm going to dig all of the soil off my plastic sheets, put them back in the garden bed, and then hopefully do a big cleanup, because the garden is looking an absolute mess, which is something you're also going to have to deal with if you're doing this in such a scattered fashion that I am.